So, looking back, are any of you kind of thinking after we talked about this, I'm disappointed in myself? Yes, no. I mean, that's going to happen. I mean, whether it's football, volleyball, basketball, whatever. Can't believe I missed that pass, or can't believe I dropped that, or can't believe I threw that away, or had a layup and I missed it, or about ready to make a tackle and I got faked out. It happens. Okay. Of course, I think you would all agree the best thing to do is pick yourself up and move forward. So, again, uh, we review these things over and over, and that's what your check on learning is going to be. The first observation, we know that a lot of gametes are produced. Okay, we had mentioned, and what's true about these gametes? Are all going to survive to reproduce? No, no, no. That's not going to happen. That is true. That's observation number 2. Then number 3, the idea that food and habitat resources are going to be limited, and then that's where we left off, and where we will continue with this here. Okay. Well, I suppose since this has a screensaver on it, that's why it goes to sleep. Okay. So we've got 13 in here, is that right? Okay, so 2, 6, 11, 13. Yep. So one of the aspects that we will see here in a few minutes is that when we picture this natural selection, the idea that most animals, okay, will evolve and become larger because that will make them more successful. Now, that's not always going to be the case, okay? It could be that natural selection will select animals to become smaller because as this takes place, okay, we know that if there's not enough food to support a population, that will die. But if you can be successful by not having to take as much food in, should animals become smaller, okay, then you can support a viable population. And that gets into what we refer to as speciation, but we won't get to that till tomorrow. Okay, so we've had 3 observations, a couple inferences where this overpopulation, okay, as that becomes severe, it can hamper the amount of food and shelter available. Okay, so observation number 4, okay. Of course, you can go driving by a pasture full of cattle and say, "Wow, that's a whole herd of cattle." Yes, and that's true. And from a distance, you'd say, "Well, they all look the same." And yeah, I would agree. They probably do. But there's probably going to be some subtle differences, of course, in their size, but mainly their color, definitely. Whether it's white face, red white face, even with that of the Angus breed, you're going to have some of them be just a little bit different in their shade of color. And this one here, heard this in certain cases. Maybe you've got a family reunion. Okay. So picture this. You have Aunt Rose, I'm just making that up, whoever that could be. And who can we pick on in here? Okay, so Aunt Rose, Riker, man, it's just so stunning. You look just like, okay, mom or dad. Okay, so that's what we're getting at. They tend to resemble their parents. And maybe in the back of your mind, you're starting to think that, gosh, I get tired of hearing that. Does that kind of sound familiar? Yes? No? Yeah. You don't? Oh, okay. Well, um, turn to the rest of your classmates and say, "You're wrong! You're wrong!" Okay? Happens a lot, don't it? No? Okay. That you don't get told or that they're wrong. That's the spirit. Don't look at it that way. Just say, I make mistakes and I learn from them. That's one of the things we'll talk about in general chemistry, whether it's on the job or I suppose you could say even in the military. Two things when it comes to mistakes. One, try to learn from them, and two, try not to repeat them. One of the aspects that you can look at with that of leadership, okay, is on the battlefield. It's not that bad decision may have been made that led to a lot of severe casualties of someone of this platoon soldiers. It wasn't a bad decision. It was not making a decision. Okay? And someone may look at yourself and just say, God darn it, make a decision, get rid of it. Well, what good does it do if you throw it to the hands of that guy with a different color uniform? You don't want to do that. So a decision could be made to tuck that underneath. I always wondered whether maybe you're handing it off, it's a sweep or something, you get it handed to you, and you just see a wall of defenders, think, oh crap. I'm sure that goes through your minds, right? Or don't you have enough time to think that? Okay. Either that or, we understand we're 6'4". I just threw that out. Come back to hello. God darn it, Nate! I'm not 7 feet 4 inches. I don't know if that maybe sound familiar too, or okay. Darn, I'm not 12 feet tall. Something like that can possibly happen too. But just make a decision, okay? And if it's the wrong one, well then obviously yes, you're going to learn from that. I saw on the news this morning, stunning in Indianapolis for football. Andrew Luck retiring. So, and I know it goes through a lot of people's minds that you have college players. You give someone opportunity, contract that has a number with a lot of zeros behind it. I'd have to say I maybe feel that urge to do that as well. But now, however much his contract was, is it worth all the taxing, what I want to say, hits that go through a season? So maybe yes, maybe no. And so what was it? Two seasons ago, had shoulder surgery, missed the entire season. So, but anyway, even in here, you're going to make mistakes. Out in society, you're going to make mistakes. Try not to repeat them, and try to learn from them. Okay, so moving forward. all doing great. Let's try to make sure that we keep doing that. So, the best example for this inference 3, differential reproduction, okay, gradually transforms the species, especially with that of finches. What change, okay, is going to be a variant that will transform that species for success? So we're thinking about food mainly. So think of the finch. What is the finch's diet? Seeds. So, can a finch break open small seeds? Probably. And the bigger, wider beak, it can break open larger seeds. So when that happens, more food is available. So if there's more food available, that's going to lead to that organism's success. So it could be such a thing that if you're only limited to one size of that could lead to extinction of that. Now, but maybe just perishing of that individual, maybe not an entire species, although that would happen throughout geological time when it comes to a type of mass extinction. Okay, maybe an entire food source gets wiped out. Okay, so I think I have it in my mind. We want to do just one more, and then yes, this will. We want to see what is it that we believe transforms the size of a species. Okay? So think of use even this as an example. Okay, separations of populations with that of leopards. Okay, does anyone think they know what would the two types of leopards that would be the most common in your mind? Just a regular leopard that has the rosettes that looks like a cheetah. Yes, that's a leopard. Okay, and then what's another subspecies of leopard? Yes, a snow leopard. Now, what is the difference with the rosettes are there in both species? But what's the difference going to be between a leopard on the savanna as opposed to a leopard in the mountain, in any sort of mountain ranges? Why is the color going to be different for a snow leopard? Camouflage. That's going to lead to their success. That's right. So over time, okay, now again, we're talking about tens of thousands to millions of years, okay, a whole wide range of species will fill niches on the earth where they'll be most successful. So in this case, nature selected these leopards that slowly had coats becoming more and more lighter in color. Okay? Okay, does everyone have this information that wants it? Yes? Okay, so you can always go back and view this should you feel that you, God, what did we talk about at that time? It's one thing to look at this, but what did we actually talk about as an example? So tomorrow, begin talking about speciation, We'll have that paper for you. Big day on Thursday. Now, it's not so much that further down the road when we get to, let's say, chapter 9 or 10, when we get to mollusks, that chapter is much bigger. But the reason that this early, that Thursday is such a big day, is we're still slowly tabulating some of these grades. Okay? So you're going to have multiple bites at the apple, especially that on Thursday, because you're going to see that same information on your exam at some point next week. So that's what we mean by multiple chances to make up points that you feel, darn it, I can't believe that had happened. So anyway, moving forward, we'll talk about speciation tomorrow. Catch up to you next time.